wake-up call from Mission Control. Spacecraft communicator Shannon Lucid saying a good morning to Mission Specialist Chris Cassidy of the Endeavour crew with the song Learning to Fly by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Cassidy, making his first flight on this mission, is a former Navy SEAL. The focus today will be on robotic operations to prepare for Monday's second spacewalk. Commander Mark Polanski and pilot Doug Hurley are going to begin their day by grappling the integrated cargo carrier that is at the rear of Endeavour's payload bay. And they'll be handing that off to the space station's robotic arm, guided by Mission Specialist Julie Payet and Tim Copra, as it accepts the carrier and installs it onto the space station's truss structure. That placement is going to allow spacewalkers, in particular Dave Wolf, to transfer the spare parts that are loaded up on that external carrier to the external storage platform on the station so that they can be there at the ready as needed.
Houston, Endeavour on the big loop, we'll put an ICC grapple in work.
We copy.
You can see the Space Shuttle's arm in motion now. Again, that's being driven by Commander Mark Polanski and pilot Doug Hurley from inside the Space Shuttle's cabin on the flight deck, where the robotic workstation is for that arm. The view you can see on the end here is the latching end effector, which has wires inside of it that twist to grab onto the small prong you can see sticking up from the cargo carrier. That allows it to pick up the pallet. And all of the pallet with its equipment weighs about 8,690 pounds. Almost 6,000 of that, however, is the weight of the pallet itself.
Houston, in the big loop from Endeavour for the ICC unberth, we want to verify that the DSAT request is inhibited. And it is, and good morning. Good morning. In that case, we'll proceed, and for Julie and Tim, the ICC unberth is in work. And we're watching, thanks.
As you can see from this view, the integrated cargo carrier holding all the spares for the International Space Station is now in motion. You're seeing it rise slowly out of the shuttle's cargo bay. The pallet itself is 8 feet long and 13 feet wide, about 10 inches thick, and it's shaped like a triangle with the corners cut off. It's loaded into the cargo bay pointing down and has connections for heat and electricity to keep the equipment healthy while it waits to be installed. However, flight engineer Tim Copra unhooked those connections during yesterday's spacewalk so that the pallet would be ready to be unloaded today. Right now, the pallet is loaded up with 9 pieces of spare parts for the space station that are going to be unloaded over the next 3 spacewalks. The ones you're seeing right now are the new batteries that are going to be installed on the P6 solar arrays. P6 was the first solar array to be added to the International Space Station, and its batteries have been collecting electricity generated from sunlight by the P6 since 2000. On the other side of the pallet, there are 3 pieces of spare equipment. First is a space-to-ground antenna. Those antennas actually provide video downlink from the station so that flight controllers here in the Mission Control Center or viewers on NASA TV are able to see what's going on, and also allows the station crew to make telephone calls and send and receive email as well as other high rate data communications. Flight controllers here on the ground report that this position that you see the cargo carrier in is the end of the unberth procedure, actually unloading the cargo carrier from the shuttle's cargo bay, and the next step is to move it into place to be handed off to the space station's robotic arm. with the cargo carrier on its way to handoff position to be transferred from the shuttle arm to the station arm. You can see now the ocean passing below at a distance of about 224 miles. It's the Southern Pacific Ocean, and coming into view in the next few minutes should be the western coast of Chile. This is Mission Control Houston, the space station's robotic arm poised to grab onto the integrated cargo carrier, currently being held in place by the space shuttle's robotic arm. Mission Specialist Koichi Wakata is currently working on getting some setup done for use of the Japanese robotic arm later in the mission. He's looking for some cue cards that will be needed when he and Mission Specialists Julie Payette and Tim Copra all work on Flight Day 9 to use the Japanese robotic arm for the first time to actually transfer experiments and equipment from the logistics carrier that the shuttle carried up to the new exposed facility on the end of the Kibo laboratory.
Station Tsukuba on Space Dragon 2 for Koichi for the Q card.
As you can see, Space Shuttle's robotic arm has let go of the cargo carrier and is backing away. Now everything's up to the Space Station's robotic arm. It'll be moving the 8,700-pound cargo carrier and its 9 pieces of new equipment for the space station to a spot on the port truss of the station for installation over the next 3 spacewalks. Mission Specialist Julie Payette and Flight Engineer Tim Copra continuing to move the cargo carrier in closer to the position where it will be stored. That's actually going to be on another end effector on the station's mobile transporter that allows the whole robotic arm to move up and down the station's truss, and that will be currently positioned on the port side of the truss, but allow it to move around as needed. And as you can see, the space station robotic arm now moving away from the integrated cargo carrier, having installed it on its own mobile base, mobile transporter system. Mission Specialist Julie Payette and Flight Engineer Tim Copra are controlling the system from inside the station's testing laboratory where the robotics workstation is located.